Ave Maria, and welcome to episode 4 of Marian Shrines of the World. Today's shrine, which you've just seen, is in Colombia, close to the Ecuador border where the countries of Brazil and Peru merge. The sanctuary was originally a small grotto, and historians and scientists are at a loss to explain the fabulous image found on the wall of this grotto. It may forever remain an enigma. Maria Maswasi de Quiñones, an Indian woman from the village of Potosi, Colombia, often walked the 6 miles between her village and the neighbouring one of Apilies. One day in 1754, as she was making the journey, she approached the place called Lajas, the rock slabs, where the trail passed through a deep gorge of the Grotata River. Maria never liked this part of the trail. There were rumours a grotto in Las Lajas was haunted. Superstitions lingered amongst the converted Christian Indians. Suddenly she was caught in a great storm and was forced to seek refuge in the grotto. With trepidation, she entered the darkness of the grotto, invoking the Virgin of the Rosary. Suddenly she felt someone tapping at her back as though calling her. Frightened, she fled back into the storm. A few days later, returning by the same route, she once again reached the cliffs of Las Lajas, carrying on her back her little daughter Rosa, who was deaf and mute since birth. Being tired and wanting to rest, Maria sat down to rest timidly on a stone near the grotto. The child got down from her back to play. Then the first miracle occurred. A deaf-mute child, pointing to the grotto, suddenly shouted, "Mummy, there is a woman in here with a boy in her arms." Maria was beside herself with fright, for this was the first time she had heard her daughter speak. She did not see the figures the girl was talking about, nor did she want to. She grabbed the child and hastened on to Apilies. There was general bewilderment among Maria's friends and acquaintances when she told them what had happened. Thirsting for the supernatural, the Indians listened to her, asked her many questions, and commented among themselves about the singular event, but took no further action. However, as the news spread, some asked if maybe it was true. After all, the child was now able to speak. A few days later, the child Rosa disappeared from home. After looking everywhere, the anguished Maria guessed it. Her daughter must have gone to the grotto. She often said that the woman was calling her. Maria ran to Las Lajas to find her daughter kneeling in front of a splendid woman and playing affectionately with a child who had come down from his mother's arms, to let the girl enjoy his divine tenderness. Maria fell to her knees before this beautiful spectacle. She had seen the Blessed Virgin. Fearful of ridicule, Maria kept quiet about the event, but frequently she and Rosa went to the grotto to place wildflowers and candles in the cracks of the rocks. The months went by, with Maria and Rosa keeping their secret, until one day the girl fell gravely ill and died. A distraught Maria decided to take her daughter's body to Las Lajas to ask the lady to restore Rosa to life. Reminding the Virgin of Rosa's solicitude in bringing her candles and flowers, she begged Our Lady to bring her back to life. Pressed by the sadness of Maria's unrelenting supplication, the Blessed Virgin obtained Rosa's resurrection from her divine Son. Overflowing with joy, Maria went home. It didn't take long for a crowd to gather. Early next morning, everyone went to Las Lajas, each wanting to check the details for themselves. That was when the marvellous picture of Our Lady on the wall of the grotto was discovered. Maria could not recall noticing it until then. The child Jesus is in Our Lady's arms, with St. Dominic and St. Francis kneeling at their feet. The Virgin extended a rosary to St. Dominic and the infant Jesus a Franciscan cord to St. Francis, the founders of the two orders that first evangelized Colombia and to whom Colombians have always had a special devotion. Our Lady's delicate and regal features are those of a Latin American, perhaps an Indian. Her abundant black hair covers her like a mantle. Her eyes sparkle with a pure and friendly joy. The two-dimensional crown is metal and was added by devotees much later on. She looks about 14 years old, and the Indians had no doubt this was their queen. As devotion to the image grew, a good road replaced the old trail. In the early 20th century, a Gothic church was built over the grotto. Today, an enormous quantity of mementos and tokens of thanksgiving attest to the devotion and gratitude of the Colombian people since the time of the apparition. But who put this magnificent image there? The author has never been identified. Scoffers say that the wily Dominicans sneaked in a good artist, and the gullible Indians are still being fooled. But tests done when the church was built show how stupendous this image actually is. The image of Our Lady of Lajas has spanned the centuries without losing its brilliance. Geologists from Germany bore core samples from several spots in the image. There is no paint, no dye, nor any other pigment on the surface of the rock. The colours are the colours of the rock itself. Even more incredible, the rock is perfectly coloured to a depth of several feet. In 1952, Pope Pius XII granted a canonical crowning of Our Lady of Lajas, and in 1954 the Gothic church erected to house the image was dedicated as a minor basilica with the presence of the Colombian bishops. So the mystery remains unsolved. Did angels do it, or did God himself do it at the dawn of creation, when he contemplated the most excellent of all his creatures? The one whom he would make Queen of heaven and earth, and to whose maternal care the future nation of Colombia would be entrusted. In any case, it is clear that this beautiful image of Our Lady and the infant Jesus, like the image of Our Lady of Guadalupe in Mexico, was not made by human hands.